banana bread. Oh.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever it is you're watching this video. Thank you for checking out At the Wheels. I know it's been a while. I know for my lovely 100 subscribers or so, I have not put up a video in quite some time, but I'm going to try to get back on track with that. One of the things going on is I, like every other person on earth, am putting together a podcast, which will be discussing car stuff and some other types of things, entertainment, whatever. So working on that diligently, so I haven't been able to do as many videos, and of course the seasons are starting to change a little bit, but we have a gorgeous day today, so I figured today would be the day to do my 1-year review of the 991.2 GTS in lava orange. Man, I love this car. So we're going to take it out to some beautiful roads. I'll have a little bit of video footage of the drive. I'll have just some ongoing discussion. You can listen to me yammer on. But it's been just over a year. I'm a little bit late in putting this up. I got this car in kind of mid to late summer of 22, but it has been quite the year with the GTS. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. So once again, thank you for checking out At the Wheels, and here we go. All right, so the 991.2 GTS is fired up and ready to go. We are going to head up near Heartland, Connecticut, and then into Barkhamsted. Beautiful area. A lot of cars head out that way. It's a very busy time this time of year because it's just beautiful scenery, awesome roads. So that's the planned drive. So we'll show you a little bit of that on the video, and I'll just do a little bit of talking about the car in general. But again, I've owned this car for just over a year. I bought it CPO. It's got almost a couple years left on the warranty, and I traded in an F80 M3. And as much as I do miss the 4 doors, and there were some great things about that car because I'm a longtime BMW fan, I don't miss it. I really don't. The GTS has just been incredible. So let's take off here. We're going to put in gear. I've got the PDK transmission, which I love. It is definitely better than the dual clutch that they had in the M3, and shifts way faster than I ever could. It's just absolutely brilliant. Now, if I got into a GT3 at some point, I probably would elect to try maybe to go for the manual transmission, but I don't even know. I love this transmission so much, maybe I'll stick with it. So off we go here. Now, the other thing with this little mount that I've got that's recording me at the moment, it's not great. It doesn't hold very often, so, for long periods of time. So we may lose it, and then I'll just have to do a little clever editing. But for now, we're going to hope it hangs on. But yeah, we're going to take this ride up near Barkhamsted. We're going to talk about some of the things. I mean, there isn't much to say that I don't like about the GTS, but we'll cram it all in there. So one of the first things I want to talk about with this car, again, I've owned it for just over a year now, is that I've mentioned this, I think, maybe even in the 6-month review, I get compliments from such a wide demographic of people with this car. Kids in their 20s and whatever. And I don't know why I foolishly thought that, but that's what I really just assumed. And I'm telling you, this happened today. I'm at Dunkin' Donuts. A guy definitely in his 50s, about my age. He just is raving about it. Just as soon as I pull in, I walk into the building and he's like, man, that car's beautiful, pulling it. Oh, asking me all kinds of questions, telling me how much he loves 911s and loves the color. He thinks that, if he was to get one, he'd want a flashy color like that. So, I've seen guys in their 80s have come up to me saying, how impressed they are with it. So it is pretty cool. I just never, I was never one of these guys that bought sports cars over the years, whether it was the M3s or the 911 here, thinking that, compliments because of how it looked was going to be a big thing. I mean, you did definitely get them because people are enamored with sports cars, but I never, ever would have thought that it would be the level that it's been with the 911 here. So love it. Very, very cool. Much appreciated. Here we go, pulling out in the GTS. We got to be careful. It's a beautiful Saturday day here in Saturday, late in October. So there'll be a lot of cars out, so we've got to be mindful of that. And when I'm driving out on these public roads, I'm not an idiot. I don't do hot dog stuff. I keep it reasonable, so as we all should. Plenty of tracks out there if you want to take your car to the limit. But so let's talk about some of the things that a lot of people do end up discussing when it comes to, say, the GTS, because you hear that a lot, that, you know, the GTS is a sweet spot, or it's like a GT3 light. You know, the GT3 comparison doesn't make a lot of sense because this particular GTS is not a naturally aspirated car. It doesn't rev as high. You know, so I don't really put it in that same category. What I put it in more as like a Turbo S light. That would make a lot more sense. You know, doesn't have quite the power, but it's got the turbo engine. It's very, very quick. It's extreme, you know, it's very livable day to day. Where the GT3, of course, you know, I know multiple people that own it. They love the cars, but they don't drive them at the amount of, you know, the amount of miles that I put on this GTS here. Not even close. So yeah, I think that you know, certainly comfort and convenience is a big factor, and this car has been absolutely brilliant. Like, I mean, it's not a really overly harsh drive. You know, it's not hang on here, gotta hold on to that. Hit a nice little bump. I don't want to lose the camera. So yeah, it's comfortable. You can go on long drives, as we've done many in this car. It's not horrible over bumps. I would, you know, say it's certainly no worse, and maybe even better than the M3. So comfort, convenience, you know, efficiency. Of course, this is a sports car, and it's not great on gas, but it's not terrible. I mean, I had the V8 Audi S4 years ago. That thing was the worst car I've ever owned when it comes to gas mileage. It was absolutely freaking terrible. But this is just, you know, call it average in this car class. Yeah, it's just, so anyways, going back to like the sound, like a lot of people will say, well, you know, without a really like an aftermarket Akrapovic or something exhaust, it just doesn't sound that great. This sounds fine. I mean, would I like it a little throatier? Sure. It'd be nice to be a little throatier, like a little more intense exhaust sound, but it's definitely not bad, especially when you switch it to sport. So now I'm in sport. You won't be able to hear this well in the video, but yeah, you know, it's fine. I mean, I wish it was a little more aggressive, but you definitely can live with it. And that's the thing, is unlike a GT4 RS or something where people have said that, you know, after 15 minutes in the car, some want to get the hell out of there. This is never like that. You're never going to feel like this is too loud or too droning. So yeah, you know, it'd be cool if it's a little sportier, but that's not a knock on the car whatsoever. So driving comfort, sound, all that stuff's good. You know, at some point, if I have a safe spot here, I'll give it, you know, some decent acceleration. But I mean, what can be said about the power of this particular, you know, engine and turbo setup? It is absolutely incredible. It is not as fast as a Turbo S, of course, but let me tell you something. I honestly don't feel like I'm not at the point where I was always like, oh, I want a Turbo S, I want a Turbo S. I don't really crave that anymore, because this is plenty quick enough out of the hole. You can keep up with a lot of the modern sports cars. You know, so I don't know. I mean, at some point maybe, but I mean, I would be more inclined to go with the GT3 for the track and the, you know, the naturally aspirated high revving stuff versus a Turbo S at this point. But yeah, it's plenty of power, and in all parts of the rev range, low down, mid range, top end. So if you're looking to buy a car that's going to give you that combination of daily drivability and extreme passing power, out of the hole punch, everything, it's all there. Launch control is amazing. The launch control in whatchamacallit, in the M3 was great, and I have launch control on my X3 M40, which is another, you know, very quick car. I love that car. That's our little pug doggy hustling machine. So yeah, launch control is great. I mean, just like I said, all the power bands are great, but nothing negative you can say about this car and when it comes to its power. So I'm just trying to safely get around here. As I said, a lot of cars, a lot of bikes out today. Got to be safe. So other than that, let's talk about, you know, the market itself has, of course, been a little bit wacky. This car has depreciated a little bit more than it certainly was during the middle of COVID. I bought it, you know, not at the top end of the market. I bought it just as the market started to go down. They were willing to play with the price a little bit, not a lot. So yeah, still overpaid for the car, but you know, it is what it is. You buy a 911 GTS or any of these cars, you got to expect that, you know, you're going to pay a price for it. Now, certainly the GT cars have held their value a little bit better than the GTSs and the Carrera S's and 4S's and all that, but it is what it is. Plus, I put a lot of miles in this car, so it's what I signed up for. You know, I know what I'm getting with this, and that's fine, because it's been an incredibly just brilliant experience over the last year. I just love being in this car. So let's talk about the braking. The braking in this car is just insane. I mean, you know, when you're coming from having a lot of BMWs and M3s especially, you're very well aware of good braking in a car. You know, but I hate, you know, using that overused phrase next level, but this this really is next level. I mean, we had one scare once where I had to stop very quickly in the road, my wife and I, and, you know, it shocked her, it shocked me. Shocking in a good way. It's just beyond understanding how good these brakes can be. And I don't even have the carbon ceramics, I've just got the steel brakes, but they are just phenomenal. You know, no brake fade, and again, I haven't taken it on a track, but I've driven it aggressively a number of times. No brake fade. I heard a lot about squeaking with Porsche brakes. I'd say that's very minimal. Happened a lot more with the M3. So braking power is incredible. I mean, again, it's kind of even goofy doing these reviews of 6 months, a year, or whatever, because you could almost just put a video out saying, yes, it's as brilliant as you think this car probably is. It's gorgeous. It does everything well. There just isn't a lot to knock. But, you know, if we're going to get into any negatives at all, you know, certainly it's a little bit of an expensive car to own. I mean, of course, because, you know, you've got services that are a little above the fray when it comes to the sports car market. You know, tires ain't cheap for this car. The rears wear fairly quickly. I mean, somebody told me this, and I honestly did not believe it. They said that it's a 3-to-1 ratio, that the rears are going to wear 3 times as quick as the fronts. I was like, you know, I was like kind of nodding my head, like, yeah, okay, buddy. But it really does shake out to be that way. I mean, pretty much exactly. So that's fairly shocking. I just have put new rears about 1,000 miles in this car, and they're holding up well. But yeah, they do go quick. The fronts, they just hold. There's no weight up there, so I guess that's a big part of it. So yeah, maintenance, you know, upkeep, all that kind of stuff. And if you get into stuff like tuning or whatever, you know, of course, yeah, a little bit of an expensive car to own. But yeah, it's just been a brilliant car to own on every level. I've enjoyed it. Just love getting into it. Love the fact that so many people appreciate the aesthetics of it, the color, the shape. The shape is iconic. I mean, you know, think about how long this car has been around and been iconic. It's just mind-blowing. So yeah, you know, I don't know what else I can really say. I've owned this car for a year. I'm going to throw some video in here of some driving and maybe stop at some scenic spots. But I mean, I could go on, but I'd just be saying the same stuff over and over. I mean, there's no reason not to own this car if you're a sporting car fan and you don't mind being looked at. Because yeah, certainly with the lava orange, you're going to get, you know, a lot of people kind of rubbernecking and checking it out because it's very bright and exciting.
God, I admire you.
But if you don't mind that and you love driving a car that is just absolutely engaging on every level at all times, this is the way to go, baby. But I'm going to turn the camera off for now and do some driving. We'll put up some of that video. But thanks for checking this out. And again, all hail the 991.2 GTS. Yeah, baby. All right, so we're out here in, I think it's still Heartland, Connecticut, and let me tell you, it is just beautiful out here. I'll shoot some from the front too, but you can look back there and look at that scenic overlook. I'll do a little bit of walking up here so we can see, but yeah, there's like a big lake down there, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. I mean, this is some of the best driving roads out in, you know, this part of Connecticut for sure. But yeah, if you're going to take a car like the 911 GTS or any fun car, make your way out to north central Connecticut. There are some impeccable and just wild roads. So there's my baby parked up on the edge of the scenic overlook. You can see over here there's like a nice cool rock face there, and but this is just, I mean, this is beautiful. Great spot to take, and you'll see I just saw a bunch of bikes come up this way. Car clubs and bike clubs are always coming up here because it's just beautiful and the roads are incredible. So yeah, a year with the GTS, and I mean, as I've already said, I mean, there's there's not much to talk about except the car is brilliant. It does everything near perfect. It looks amazing. It's not real expensive to own beyond what you'd expect. I mean, certainly more than a Honda Odyssey, but comes with the territory. But the car looks amazing. It's performed great. I don't know. I mean, anything I could improve? I mean, we're always looking for a little more power, but it certainly doesn't need it. The black wheels really grew on me over time. Part of me always imagines maybe getting some silver wheels too, to shake it up here and there, but I don't know. I think I'm really digging the black. And the other thing too is, even when you don't wash it a lot, this just might be some weird anomaly because the paint's so good, but it just stays so pristine looking. It stays clean looking, even if you don't wash it for a long clip. Beautiful. I mean, it's just, again, it's the 991.2 GTS, man. It's the greatest car I've ever owned, bar none. I mean, there's no disputing that. And this, some beautiful territory up here. Hey, birdies, where you going? Anyways, I'm an idiot. Look at that little guy. Look at him.